This video is for coordinators and instructors of respiratory therapy teaching programs to answer the question on how they control their students' access to things in LindseyJones University, specifically how they control access to things like practice exams and also the learning content, how they control those things generally. Now, you can control things, meaning you can turn exams on and off, but you can also go into the learning content if you have that kind of account. The basic account doesn't have learning content, so you're not going to be worried about that. But if you do have the whole thing where you have the whole course, which is over 180 hours of instruction, then you can turn those off as well. And then we'll cover just that. But here it is right here. You want to pay attention to this red box here. Now, I want to caveat here is that the controls that you see that we can control right now include some things as of the making of this video that are pertinent, but these will evolve as time goes by. So right now we are in 2026, and it's possible that your students could be taking the TMZ exam. So your students at this point likely have control or at least access to both examination materials. So they have TMC exam controls, and then there's also RTE exam controls. You'll also see clinical simulation and pathology control, but those can disappear. So later on, if you don't see the TMC controls or the clinical simulation controls, that's because it's 2027 and we've evolved. We'll probably make another video by then. But just in case, the concept is the same. These can kind of change. Same with we can manage learning controls and TMC and RTE, etc. And then the clinical simulations eventually will be migrated pretty soon here, actually already, that they'll be migrated to be used not as exam preparation practice, but rather for pathology and critical thinking exercises. We just think clinical simulations are too powerful in teaching critical thinking and helping solidify your students' understanding of pathology. So we're going to use them as a resource to learn. And so, but you'll still have control over that because it'll become a learning control or a learning method there. All right, and so I'm going to focus just on a couple things, the RTE exam controls, and then I'm going to focus on the RTE learning content controls, just to kind of show you how that works. And so as you go into the RTE exam controls, here's what you're going to see. You are going to have a number of forms that are made for your school. Now, when we start your account, these forms, which are just versions of the test exams, they can be locked or unlocked or available or not available to your students. So the first thing you want to do is to come back in here, and you'll see it's all red because everything is locked. This means that we'll say, yeah, look, you've got form B, D, F, H, and J. You have at least 5. We might expand that here pretty soon, but at least 5, 5, 6, 7, 8 is what you're going to end up with. But as you look at that, your students might come to you and say, hey, how come I can't start any exams? And that's a trigger for you to think, oh, I may have that locked. And so you'll come in here. And let's say in the beginning of the semester you want them just to see exam B, then you can turn that on. All you have to do is click that, and then that is now unlocked. Now your students can see it and do it. And if you lock it right back up, now they cannot. So you can unlock and lock this at your will. You can do it anytime. Sometimes an instructor might go home. They might tell a student that their assignment is to have this done before Saturday night. And then Saturday night, they can just pull up their little phone. You can, as an instructor, and just say, well, it was unlocked, but it's Saturday night at 10. Whoever didn't get it done, I'm now locking it down. So you can do that. I don't know if you want that kind of tight control. Some people do, but that's how you make that available. I would mention here also that don't be alarmed that it looks like the exam forms are skipping numbers. So you notice you don't see an A, and you don't see a C, and you don't see an E. That's because we allot specific packs of exams to specific schools. Not all schools have the same exam. And then there's also the home study stuff. We tried to make it to where if you have exam B, your student probably can't get to exam form B in any other way on the internet or in the world. And so we try to lock that down a little bit. It's not a perfectly secure situation, but that's what that means. But your students might ask you, where's exam A? And you'll say, we don't have an exam A. We have a B, D, F, H, and J, or whatever it is that you have. But that's how you control that. You can just kind of turn things on and off. Now, for me, I would turn this all on. Be aware that you can define cohorts, and that's going to be covered in another video where your freshman class, you may want this locked down, and so you just pull up them as a cohort. We'll show you that in another video. But then each cohort can have its own set of locks and things that are locked or unlocked. So the freshmen may have all these exams locked because you don't want them to play with them yet, whereas the seniors might have several unlocked, and then you might have another cohort of those that have already graduated, and all of them are unlocked. So you can lock and unlock controls according to groups of people, not by individual students, but by cohorts. All right, now I'm going to go back by hitting this leaf, go back to the main menu here, the dashboard. We just showed you the RTE exam controls. Now I'm also going to show you the RTE learning content controls. These are basically all of the courses that is included in the RTE body. There's like 108 of them at the making of this video, and we add and subtract things all the time, even on the fly. If we think there's something on the exam, we'll say, we're going to add a course and talk about that. Now, each one of these courses has multiple resources in them. So there may be a video, there may be a quiz. You don't control the resources within a course. You can only unlock or lock a complete course, like can completely unlock them out of ABGs if you want to. So you can do that. And then up here, by the way, this is kind of interesting. You can expand and you can lock everything all at once or unlock everything at once. And so if you're like, well, mostly I want everything locked, except now that it's locked, I want people to be able to see in my class. I want to unlock the opening comments, the introduction, and they can go ahead and do ABG. So you can unlock and unlock all these controls. Now we do this, we group them according to large sections in the manual and the course content, which really is aligned with what's on the NBRC exam. So the NBRC exam has a section on patient data. If you look at the matrix, they have one on equipment and they have one on interventions, so you can do that. But we also have two other sections you can lock down and open up. Pathology review, so you can open up specific, say I lock these all down and say, but this week we're going to talk about ARDS, so I can unlock that, and I can unlock asthma because we're going to talk about that next week. And so you can manage that however you like. Now I'm going to unlock everything so that I can have access because I'm a student of this school, so I need access to all of that. And then also pharmacology review as well. You can unlock and lock any of that. So it's pretty easy as you go through there. We give you more and more control of what you give access to the students, but the best part is you're going to want to use cohorts where you go in there and you set up a cohort, and then when you come back and you want to go into the controls, you can select a cohort, and then when you go into controls, then you're managing those controls for that specific body of students. So we think you'll find that helpful.